Henderson. I'm from Chicago Heights, Illinois. My main issue is civil rights, dealing with how the judicial system and it's more racial discrimination, and economic discrimination. If you're poor, the judicial system just don't work for you because you can't afford a high-priced lawyer who will actually be effectively advocating for your interests. Instead, you got a public defender who more so a prosecutor advocate than he is your counsel. And one of my issues was I was wrongfully incarcerated from the age of 16 to 25 years old. In that incarceration, I realized that I wasn't getting the benefit of my plea bargain. My plea bargain was for boot camp, and I had the judge, everything I'm saying is on transcript. I had the judge, I told the judge, if I'm not getting boot camp, I don't want to plead guilty. And the judge said, if you don't get boot camp, then you coming back and we're going to find something else for you. So during my incarceration, I realized that they weren't going to never give me boot camp, so what I did is start studying the law. And I ended up filing a post-conviction, and I complained about the benefit of the plea bargain that I didn't get, and that my lawyer was ineffective. I said my lawyer was ineffective because what he was doing, he was constantly telling me to cop out, cop out, cop out. And I'm like, I didn't do it. I don't even know what they're talking about. He's like, we got you on camera. I'm like, all right, show me the camera. He's like, I can't, it's against Supreme Court rule. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I go in front of the judge, and I say to the judge, my lawyer say he got me on camera, I want to see the camera. The judge say, state, show him the camera. The state flip through their documents, and they like, it's no camera. We have no camera. We never said we had no camera. This all on trial transcript. And I tell the judge, well, my lawyer ineffective. If he said that he got me on camera, he trying to get me to cop out for something I didn't do. He refused to listen to me telling him I didn't do it, and he manufacturing evidence against me. And the judge tell me, nah, you misinterpreting what your lawyer is saying. It's not a bad lawyer. I know him for years. Go back there and talk to him. And that's what I had to go through the whole system until one day, because my lawyer was trying to get me cop out 15 years. And one day I just went to court and I said, the only way I cop out is for boot camp. And they said, all right, we're going to give it to you. And I never could get boot camp because it's requirements that you got to fit in to get boot camp. It's a separation from the court to the prison system. The court can only give you the sentence. The prison system decide how you serve the sentence. So what they was telling me was they never sentenced me to boot camp. They only recommended that I got boot camp, even though the judge said that he sentenced me to boot camp, and if boot camp don't work, then he'll go find something else. But when I filed the post-conviction, they said that that part of their trial transcript didn't matter. One other thing I found when filing my post-conviction is that I was never supposed to be an AT. An AT is like an adult transfer, which means they saying that the crime happened at 16 years old. That's juvenile age. So since I was a juvenile at that time, I never should have seen adult court. But at the same time, they tried me as an adult. When the appellate defender took over the case, they realized that I never should have been in adult court. And what they did was bring that up to the issue of the judge. And the judge said, the appellate judge said that, well, I should have brought that up when I was going to court, and that it's too late for me to bring it up now. And I said I actually inarticulated and eloquently stated that I should never have been here. I said I was only 16 when the crime happened. Now, the lawyer was supposed to bring that issue up and say, yeah, he was only 16, but instead all he could focus on was getting me to plead guilty. I didn't get the benefit of the plea bargain. I never was supposed to be an AT. And the lawyer, I never had effective assistance of counsel. She just kept manufacturing evidence. And I was never duly convicted. What the 13th Amendment say, you got to be duly convicted to go to prison. And I was never duly convicted. I told the judge I didn't do it. But when I filed the post-conviction, it went all the way. First they dismissed it as frivolous. I filed the appeal to that dismissal, and they said, well, you didn't sign the affidavit. Now, this was a new concept. That was the first person. In fact, I'm in the history books as the first person who they ever dismissed the post-conviction for that did sign an affidavit. In prison, they tell you that you don't have to sign an affidavit. So they dismissed for that. The appellate defender came up and said, okay, he never was supposed to sign an affidavit because they told him that he didn't have to sign an affidavit. And then what they said, well, okay, well, it seemed like you only got 2 more days till your whole time is over with, so your issue moved.
Go ahead, continue. You still have some more you want to talk about. We got a couple more minutes. If it's okay with you, Pat? Yeah, I wanted to catch because this under the CRC too, because I didn't know you went through this at the age of 16.
Yeah, and so he said the issue moved, and I say, how's it moving? I still gotta go through these. I got an X on my back. I ain't got no work experience. They ain't give me no GED. I've been locked since I was 16 to 25 years old. They educated me none. In fact, I educated myself, and if I ain't never take the initiative to read books, take the initiative to go to the law library every day, and take the initiative to get in contact with different organizations to send me different educational books, then I'll probably be stuck in a 16-year-old mind frame.
So I got a series of questions I want to ask you. So you said at the age of 16, this is when this process, this judicial process started for you.
Yeah.
Who was your parental advisor who gave the court or the public defender rights to make decisions on your behalf? Who was the adult that made a decision on your behalf?
That's a whole other story, you know what I'm saying? I really want to sue my parental guardian. You know, I was kicked out of the street at the age of 12 years old. You know, my grandma had adopted me, and what she told me at the age of 12 was, if you're old enough to run away, you're old enough to stay away. I came up in an abusive and dysfunctional family, you know what I'm saying? My mama had got shot in the head a couple times, but what paralyzed her when she got shot in the throat. And so since she couldn't beat me no more, she used to pay my uncle to beat me. And one day I ended up trying to fight him back, but really was trying to just push him above me because he came in the bathroom on me while I was trying to take a bowel movement. And so I ended up trying to block the punches and push him off into the bathtub, and I ran out the house, and he was just chasing me. We was just he was fighting. I really tried to fight him back, but his arm was too long. He was 8 years older than me, so I really ain't have no chance of it. And I called the police too, you know what I'm saying? The police came, they like, well, this is domestic incident, didn't seem like everything underhand. And my grandma came, she had went to the store, and she came back, and I'm like, man, my eye black, my nose bloody, lip busted, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna keep beating on me, woo. And she like, well, just go to your room, which was always the response, you know. And I told my mama, she was in a wheelchair, got shot in the throat on the hospital bed. And I told her, like, no, I'm finna leave. She like, no, you're not. I bet you $25. I'm like, all right. So I ran, jumped out the window, left, you know what I'm saying? I came back really the same night. I was gone about 12 hours. I ain't never really been in the street like that. Came back 12 hours, and my grandma was like, well, you old enough to run away, you old enough to stay away. Slammed door in my face and locked the door. And what I did was go back into the street, you know what I'm saying? I started...
At what age was that?
12 years old.
What were you convicted for?
Started out as conspiracy. The reason why I was conspiracy because I never was arrested for any type of crime. You know, I was on my way to job corps because I was out of school. But my grandma didn't ever go me to school. I had to fight in school, and what they do in high school is when you have a fight or something, they tell you that you either gonna be expelled or your parents gotta come up. And my parents never had that meeting because my grandma never.
What age was that? I'm just trying to
At that age, like 14, 15.
Were you in high school when you was kicked out?
Like the first semester, sophomore. You know what I'm saying? I was always trying to pursue my education. I was really cautious, what they used to call me.
Smart.
Yeah, you know, and so I ended up getting kicked out of the high school because of the fight. My grandma, I never could involve myself in sports or anything because you need a parent to guide and take you to physical exams and things like that. But I was always real fast. I had real athletic skills, but I never could get into that. And
Did you? Because I want to ask a series of questions because you have a particular case. You said at 15 years old you was kicked out. Was there any type of alternative education offered by Chicago Public Schools, your guardians, or DCFS, any state agency? Did they offer you an alternative education, or did everybody just let you go to the streets and stay on the street?
Basically, that's what it was. The only reason I was able to stay in school in the first place was because I was getting involved. The guardians that I had did nothing, you know what I'm saying? But at the same way, I was kicked out, and at the same way, I knew how to get in the house, you know what I'm saying? But they had no involvement in my life, you know what I'm saying, at all. And if they seen me in the house, they would instantly tell me to get out. In fact, one time, she called the police on me. And I said, I used to always run when she called the police. All right, she called the police, you know what I'm saying? I was involved in the street. But then one day, I'm like, man, I'm tired of the street. We ended up getting a job corps. I'm like, man, I ain't finna go in the street. I got enough money, you know what I'm saying? I came from prosperous block, you know what I'm saying? At this time, everybody was going to war in this block, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people, they put a camera up on the block, a lot of drugs, probably like, I don't know what year, 2004, in fact. And so I'm like, man, I'm not doing no more crime. Call the police. All I want to do is get something to eat. God thought it's truth, you know what I'm saying? Come downstairs, try to go get something to eat. She get out of my house. You can't eat nothing in my house. I'm like, man, I'm finna get something to eat. I'm knowing that she get money from me, you know what I'm saying? I'm still under this system where they paying her for this money. So I'm like, man, I'm finna get something to eat. And she like, nah, I'm finna call the police. And I'm like, call them over and see what they say. And you know, the police came. And she telling her story, and they asked me what's my story, and I'm like, well, she coming, she called y'all because I want to get something to eat. She drive me crazy. They're like, well, you know what, this is the message where she going to jail.
How old were you then? With that occurred?
16 years old. And took me to jail for that domestic situation. Kept me in there. In fact, when they tell me, they come in, they like, all right, if you want to go home, sign this paper. I signed the paper, the judge tell me, all right, you got community service, but instead of letting me home, they act like they lose me in the system. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be going home, They kept me for another day, and they like, man, you was supposed to be going home, but we're going to send you back to court. And instead of me seeing the judge again, they just corrected the paperwork and then sent me back to the jail and then let me out. Matter of fact, I think I was, yeah. And then, after that, I'm like, I see what that's going to happen if she called the police.
So how instrumental was your grandmother during the process in which you were going through trial? Did she sign over your rights to the Illinois Public Defender's Office? It would be the Cook County Public Defender's Office, right? Did she show up at your hearing? Did your grandmother, as your legal guardian, did she take part in the judicial process at all?
No.
Do you recall her signing some paperwork giving the public defender the right to discuss your case with you without a parental advisor?
But when I was 16, the beginning of the case happened in like October, my birthday in January. In the beginning of 16 years old, I woke up in the hospital, and when I woke up, I tried to leave, and they was like, no, you can't leave because you're a juvenile, so you can't leave without no parent. I'm like, man, ain't nobody coming to get me. I'm finna go. And what they did was shoot me up. And then when I woke up again, I was on my way to the hospital. What I ended up finding out was what they did was tell my grandma, you either gonna sign him over to Hot Grove, or we're gonna bring in the DCFS people to investigate. My grandma didn't care anyway. Hot Grove back. And you know what I'm saying? I think what they do is compensate you too. When you sign over your kids to different type of mental institutions, the compensation rate go up. And so she instantly signed me over to Hot Grove, and I ended up spending like money to them. So what happened was, from Hot Grove, I tried to go to Job Corps, and from Job Corps I went to, well, I don't know, she might have signed over, but no, she didn't.
There's only one or two ways that can happen. Either you become an emancipated minor, or she give up her right as your legal guardian back to DCFS, who then instructs the state on how they should proceed with your case. But at the age of 16, he cannot make a decision for a plea agreement or anything like that.
As long as she gets money, she's not going to give him up.
That's right. And as long as she's receiving money, she has not surrendered his guardianship.
I made the plea at 18.
At 18, but the crime happened at 16.
Right.
But it sounds like to me the crime happened between 16 and 17. You say your birthday was in January, you made 17?
No, my birthday, it happened in October. The date that they listed in somewhere in October, around the end of October 20, is in the 20th of October. And
But we're trying to narrow something down. But you were 16 at that moment.
yeah,
But January you made 17.
yeah.
They probably delayed a lot.
They
of
delayed the
stuff.
case till he got grown and then charged him off.
Changed, because they were playing with your paper, and then
Right.
you were all in the system all kinds of funny ways.
Right.
So by the time it came, you were an adult, even though when you went to the penitentiary as a, so when did you go to the penitentiary
At 18.
for a crime that you committed at 16?
Right, that I never committed.
Well, that they accused you of
Right, and that's
allegation.
what the appellate defender, one of the issues the appellate defender brought up was that, the crime was committed at, a juvenile age, so it's, void. And, the judge said, well, that's something that he should have brought up
At that
time, but.
Who should have brought up?
The
They
lawyer.
say that I
The
should.
the lawyer on your behalf, because you couldn't bring that up. You don't possess a Juris Doctorate.
And, they went further deeper into it about documents and stuff like that, and the judge was saying that there's no way that the state can prove why they made me an AT or nothing, but he's sure that the judge considered it for some type of reason. But I never had no type of transfer hearing. It never was considered at all, but the judge brushed it out because they said that was something I should have got up.
You said the crime was conspiracy, but we never got to, not you have to do everything but conspiracy. Well, I mean, it's a lot of conspiracy to do what?
See, at that time, like I say, it was a lot of wars. I come from the block where it was starting wars.
West side, south side? You don't have to be
I'm
specific.
from Chicago Heights, East Side.
Okay, okay.
But it really was people taking over blocks and other people telling the police on them because they could no longer stay on that block, and they haven't had the heart to challenge the con. So
Dante, what we talking about? Conspiracy that led to, that's what the professor's asking.
so what you saying? I don't know what you saying.
I'm confused about
It was initially
conspiracy.
conspiracy, and then it was dropped down to drug manufacturing.
Well, did you have a gang conspiracy, bro? Or a RICO conspiracy?
Nah, one thing was the conspiracy could never even stand because I was the only person. I think it's like what
Right,
you
you
said.
can't have a conspiracy by
Well, only one
yourself.
person, right? And it's like what you said. They did a lot of delaying and playing with paperwork because anybody, any lawyer, a person just coming out of law school could have beat that case. There's no evidence.